Good morning, everyone. If you'd like to gather around and come a little closer in, we don't have a fire, but maybe if we all huddle, we'll keep each other warm. And does anyone need a program? You can raise your hand if you'd like a program. Everyone's got a program? Okay, you got it. Good. We'll start this moment. All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Weathersfield's Veterans Day ceremony. On behalf of the Veterans Memorial Committee, we would like to thank all veterans, Gold Star families, local officials, and I see several local officials. I see some select board members here. I see, yes, there's DeForest Beers, Mike Todd, and I also see our former state representative John Arison here, and our current state representative B.L. Coffin. So thank you for coming and gathering together today as we honor all those who served in the armed forces of the United States. We'd also like to acknowledge support from the town of Weathersfield, the fire and highway departments, I see members here as well, thank you, and the Windsor County Sheriff's Department. Let's begin today's ceremony in the Vermont spirit of freedom and unity, honoring our veterans past and present, and inspiring the next generation to serve with that same love of country. And now, the Catamount Squadron of the Civil Air Patrol will post the colors.
Reason arms!
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Order! Arms!
At this time, Mr. Wayne Johnson will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Wilman will deliver invocation.
Gracious, loving God, we gather here on this sacred day, in this beautiful place, to give thanks for those who put down their lives, laid aside their comfort to preserve an ideal which we still strive for. We recognize that it is our failure to achieve things peaceably that causes us to call on young men and women to fight the wars. 107 years ago, we hoped we had finished the war to end our youth. And let us still seek to achieve that goal as we move on in the future, thanking those who have preserved our freedoms and whose sacrifice we honor today. Please join in a moment of silence in remembrance of Armistice Day 107 years ago today.
Thank you for that wonderful invocation, Pastor Wilman. We have some special guests here to speak to us today, and I've been informed they're going to be brief and brilliant based on our weather forecast. Among our guests include our opening speaker, Sheriff Ryan Palmer, who is a U.S. Air Force veteran. Sheriff Palmer?
Well, I can certainly do brief. I don't know about brilliant, but I'll give it a try. So, when Colonel Murray asked me to speak, he said, can you talk a little bit about what Veterans Day means? And to me, it's about honoring and remembering those veterans that have gone before us and thanking those that are still with us. Every single veteran that served raised their right hand, swore an oath to defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And the price tag of that was up to and including potentially giving their life. And it's important that we acknowledge that sacrifice. Not only just of the veterans, but of their families and of their communities that saw them go off to war or the service to defend this great nation. And it is a great nation. So for those who have raised their hand, and for those that didn't come back, and for those that did, thank you so much for your service, and God bless.
Thank you for those wise words. Next, we have two special guests. We're going to be having Major General Gregory Knight, the Adjutant General of Vermont, and Vermont's 2025 Citizen of the Year. And to introduce him is U.S. Army veteran and State Representative V.L. Coffin.
Thank you all for coming out here, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor to introduce our guest speaker, Major General Gregory Knight, the Adjutant General. General Knight served our nation for more than 43 years, including 13 years enlisted and 30 years as a commissioned officer. He began his military career with the United States Coast Guard, later serving Vermont in law enforcement while continuing his military service in both the Air and Army National Guard. Commissioned through the Officer Candidate School in 1997, he's held numerous leadership positions, becoming Vermont's Adjutant General since 2019. He's a Bronze Star recipient, a combat veteran of the Iraq War, and was named the 2025 Citizen of the Year by the Vermont Chamber of Commerce. Please welcome my friend, a man I served with more than 20 years ago. Please join me in welcoming Major General Gregory Knight.
How's everybody doing today? Great. I will try to abide by being brief and being brilliant, and then I'll be gone. But given my current position as the Adjutant General, I am going to talk about our Guard. But first, let's talk about veterans. So, definition of a veteran, according to Title 38 of U.S. Code, is succinct. A person who served in the active duty military, naval or air service, and who was discharged under conditions other than dishonorable. Now, for those of us that are veterans and are really members of the National Guard, you know that it's a lot more than that. In fact, a lot of folks don't know this. Absent being called to active duty, meaning mobilized under Title 10 of U.S. Code for deployment, National Guard members do not qualify for VA benefits. For health care, disability benefits, home loans, education programs like the GI Bill, and burial honors. But again, let's go beyond a statutory definition. Being a veteran encompasses much more. For many of us, deployments, especially in our Guard, has simply become a fact of life. To give you some background, with the advent of the global war on terror, our National Guard transitioned from a strategic reserve to what is now known as a operational reserve. Now, this truly reinforced our status as the primary combat reserve of the Army and the Air Force. And what that means is, for our Army National Guard, we comprise about 40% of the Army, and for Air National Guard, in particular for us in Vermont, the fighter fleet, about 30% of the Air Force. All told, we're a bargain. We make up about 20% of the joint force, the entirety of our military, but your Guard does that with 4% of the budget. Now, with that in mind, deployments, as I said, are a fact of life. We've got Guard members, many folks here today with us have been deployed, some multiple times. And these veterans serve in the most challenging places around the world. Southwest Asia, the Mideast, Indo-Pacific, the Horn of Africa, and in Europe. And in fact, in 2026, we have deployments upcoming for our Guard. We'll be going to Europe, to Central Command, and our mission for our Air National Guard in early of 27, we don't know yet. Being an operational reserve, 2/3 of our members are National Guard traditional drilling members. That's, you heard the 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year? That's kind of. We do a little more than that. But what's unique about our Guard and our Guard veterans is they do their military service in addition to the civilian work, in addition to being a family member, in addition to being a student. We also have a dual mission here, if we may, with our Guard. We've seen it not that long ago, flooding in July, flooding in the July before that. Our Guard responds to wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, pandemics, January 6th, other civil unrest. Have y'all ever seen the commercials for Flex Seal? We like Flex Seal. We're good for everything. Just put some Guard on. Those are your neighbors. Those are your friends. 2/3 of them part-time. That takes a lot of sacrifice. Now, we do have our federal mission, as I've mentioned. We have our deployments that are upcoming. And over the past 20 years, as Representative Coffin had mentioned, our Guard participated in many deployments. To Iraq, to Afghanistan, to Kosovo, to Romania, to Bulgaria, to Djibouti, to Qatar and Saudi Arabia. And across the globe, and across the National Guard, at any given time, there are about 40,000 members of our Guard deployed. What sticks with me is the manner in which our veterans serve. They do it with distinction, they do it with professionalism, and they do it as representatives of the greatest nation on earth. Now, service as a veteran, it's rarely convenient. We take our veterans away from home, from work, from school. We miss events, anniversaries, birthdays, sometimes the birth of a child. And we do that willingly. Somebody said, well, if you raised your right hand, you know what comes with that. We're going to do it because we want to. Now that in and of itself to me is remarkable. And that to me is what sets a veteran apart from many others. There are lots of ways to serve, but this is unique. You know what you're going into. You know the inconvenience. You know the stress, what may come with it. And yet still, veterans choose and have chosen to serve. So to me, that makes people like that very, very special. I wish we had more of them. And in fact, let me close with that. It really does beg the question, where do you find such people? It's remarkable to me that people still step forward to serve knowing the challenges. I can tell you where we find them, the answer to that question actually resides with you. You can help us grow our Guard. You can help us keep our community strong. And you can help us husband the future of our profession and take care of our nation. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today. Thank you for the opportunity to serve as the Adjutant General and to serve our communities, our state, and our nation. Thanks very much for the recognition today.
Thank you, General Knight. That was a really great, meaningful speech for all of us here today. In a moment, we're going to do a wreath laying and play taps, but before we do that, I do want to thank DeForest Beers for helping me learn that there are two important recognitions that we need to do today. And if we could have a member of the Civil Air Patrol come forward. Are any family members of Ernie Shand present today? They are. And how about Lynn Esty? Any family members of Lynn? Okay. Well, first I'm going to start off by saying, if you guys can each grab one of these flowers. If you could give them to the family of Ernie Shand. Please raise your hands. Oh, they're standing in for Lynn. Okay. one bouquet for Lynn Eske's family and one bouquet for Ernie Shand's family. And to share with you why this, thank you very much for helping with that. Ernie Shand is a beloved member of the community, a veteran of the U.S. Coast Guard. He's very proud of that. He was also our state representative. And so his long-standing support to veterans is remembered and it is honored. Thank you to the family members. And for Lynn Eske and her family, they spent many years marking the graves of veterans across Weathersfield with the American flag. So let's give them a round of applause as we remember them. At this time, if I could have Representative V.L. Coffin help me secure this wreath, and you and General Knight will place at the foot of our memorial. This wreath is being placed at the memorial in honor of all the veterans who have served the United States in the armed forces. Military personnel, please present arms. Order arms. So as we wrap up our ceremony today, would like to thank our special guests and would like to thank the entire community of Weathersfield for coming together on this rather chilly morning. It was very meaningful, and thank you to the Civil Air Patrol for always providing such a wonderful job. Let's give the Civil Air Patrol a round of applause. At this time, this concludes our ceremony, but if you're a member of the fire department, the sheriff's department, the highway department, or a member of the town offices, and you'd like to come forward, as well as the Civil Air Patrol and veterans, we'll do a photo here at the monument if General Knight would be so willing. Thank you for a wonderful ceremony.
Good side?
Thank you all, Tom.
Wonderful.
This is Mike Todd, he's select board member and a veteran of the Army.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you for coming today.
Oh, thank you. I don't get out often enough.
Oh, it's great words.
I'll tell you, we got to get down. To me, the southern part of Vermont is not always an untapped resource for recruiting. We're changing that now. Yeah.